Today, we're going to talk about wo wohnen Sie? That is, where do you live? That's another question that you have to learn to answer in German. Where do you live? In German, we say, wo wohnen Sie? That's the former, or the informal one, wo wohnst du? Okay, wo wohnen Sie? Or you say, wo wohnst du? So to say where you live in German, the verb, remember verb again, the verb wohnen will be used in its conjugated form in the present tense. And let's conjugate it together. Remember conjugation, breaking the verb to suit or to agree with the personal pronouns. So we have ich wohne, du wohnst, wohnt, sie wohnt, es wohnt, wir wohnen, ihr wohnt, sie wohnen, sie wohnen. Okay, starting again all over again. Ich wohne, that means I live. Du wohnst, you live. Wohnt, he lives. Sie wohnt, she lives. Es wohnt, it lives. Wir wohnen, we live. Ihr wohnt, remember, you, plural, live. And then the last one, Sie wohnen, sie wohnen. Now, before we move on, you need to understand when you conjugate a verb in the present tense, that verb is saying two things. For instance, ich wohne is saying I live and I am living. Two things. Ich wohne means I live and I am living. Du wohnst means in English you live or you are living. It means the two. Wohnt means he lives or he is living. Now let's continue to answer the question, wo wohnst du? Informal, or wo wohnen Sie? Where do you live? Now the answer is, remember the conjugation, ich wohne in Berlin. Ich wohne in Berlin. I live in Berlin. Another person says, ich wohne in Hamburg. Ich wohne in Hamburg. I'm living or I live in Hamburg. Another person says, ich wohne in Lagos. I live in Lagos, or I am living in Lagos. So just think of the city where you are and use that same sentence to tell us tell me where you live. I have told you, ich wohne in Nigeria. In some cases, you say, well, I live in, and you mention the name of the country, depending on who you are talking to. Maybe the person is in another country, but when you are right there in your country, and somebody is asking you, wo wohnen Sie? Of course, the answer will be the name of the town where you are living. Okay, ich wohne in Ile-Ife. Wo wohnst du? Okay, now, sometimes you want to say more than that. I want to introduce another word to you now. Say it now. Ich wohne seit einer Woche in Berlin. I live in Berlin for the past 1 week. Or I am living in Berlin for the past 1 week. And the new word is seit. Remember, that's seit einer Woche. Yeah? That is since 1 week or for the past 1 week. Ich wohne seit einer Woche in Berlin. I live in Berlin for the past 1 week. Or I am living in Berlin for the past 1 week. Okay, Remember, I'm still going to use that seit again in a sentence. Ich wohne seit einem Monat in Berlin. Anytime you use that seit, of course, what follows must be in the dative form. Well, then we're going to talk about that later. So that's why we have Ich wohne seit einem Monat in Berlin. I live in Berlin for the past 1 month, or I am living in Berlin for the past 1 month. Okay, and another sentence. Ich wohne in der Nähe von dem Krankenhaus. I repeat, ich wohne in der Nähe von dem Krankenhaus. I live near the hospital, or I live close to the hospital. There is another new word there, in der Nähe, and it simply means close to. In der Nähe, close to. Ich wohne in der Nähe von dem Krankenhaus. I live near the hospital. Now, see the way the verbs are conjugated and used. Now, I have a question for you, and the question is, wo wohnst du? What is your answer? Or I ask formally now, wo wohnen Sie? Okay? I think your answer now is, ich wohne in, and you mention the name of your city, or you mention the name of your country as you answer the question. Wo wohnst du? Ich wohne in Nigeria. Wo wohnen Sie? Ich wohne in Ile-Ife. Okay, thank you very much. See you in the next class.